Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you that tuned in a week or so ago, we were trying to get Mike's S14 on the road, and we got pretty darn close. Basically what happened was a little while ago, we were having some issues with the car overheating, and one of the theories we had was the head gasket. So we did a head gasket job on the car, and for some reason when we put everything back together, it wasn't running quite right. So we had to kind of step away, come back, scratch our heads, and try and figure out what was going on. One of the things we did is we got a smoke tester, and so we ran a smoke test on the car and we found all of the leaks on the intake side and we took care of those. So that should help out a lot. The other thing is I knew we were missing a connector and we actually found it, and that was the knock sensor. Basically the clip was hiding inside the intake area. I knew we were missing it. We finally found it. So the car was able to fire, but it was still running really, really rough to the point that I couldn't get it timed. And there again, we were just having issues because getting this car timed has been a problem since he first got it. Something that occurred to me actually last week is maybe one of the reasons why the car was running so bad is the battery was dead for so long that maybe the ECU forgot all of its learning. So maybe the ECU needs time to relearn the fuel curves and everything else for the car to run properly. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're going to pretty much, there's a few things we need to do. The car has been sitting so long to make sure it's safe to drive. One of the things is we still have an issue with overheating. Pretty much it was confirmed by a guy we know that's a really good mechanic that the electric fans, they just don't pull enough air across the radiator. That's probably why the car is overheating. And that's probably why when we bought the car, there was no thermostat in the car. So what we're gonna do today as a band-aid for that is we are just gonna pull the thermostat. Hopefully that fixes our overheating issue. On top of that, we had an issue in the last episode where when we were taking off the intake, the rubber coupling actually just flat out just tore apart. It was hard as a rock. So Mike had to order up a new one. As you can see, nice and soft. So we're gonna basically be able to put the intake on. And then finally, an issue that was something I wasn't expecting is for some reason there's no fluid in the master brake cylinder. Now this is worrying for a couple of reasons. Either one, when he bought it, it was really, really low and he was pretty much driving on almost no fluid. Or even more scary is there is a leak somewhere in the lines, or maybe one of the calipers needs to be rebuilt. And that's a much bigger issue. But what we're gonna do today is I have a Mighty Vac here, and we're gonna pretty much just pull brake fluid through the entire system. So it's gonna have clean new brake fluid, it's gonna be properly full. And then that way, as we drive it around, the car will hopefully stop. So that's what we're on to today. But two things before we get started. One, if you do want to see more automotive, particularly GTR and of course S14 content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And two, if you'd like to support the channel, I do have the JD Archer shop. If you go to jdarcher.bigcartel.com, you can see a limited selection of t-shirts I've designed that are for sale. But with that out of the way, let's see if we can get this thing on the road. So to start off with the project, Mike's already opened up the thermostat housing. We've gotten the thermostat out and clear. What we're gonna do now is just kind of clean the mating surface a little bit, use some more liquid gasket and put it back together, and hopefully it won't leak, and hopefully this will fix our overheating issue for the time being. At some point in time, hopefully, we do get our hands on an original fan clutch and fan shroud, because then we'll have the proper air flowing across. Or another option is maybe we get a push fan to put in front of the radiator, so then we have the two fans in the back pulling and the one fan in the front pushing. That might also fix our overheating issue. There we go. That sucker. Yay! Yeah, probably.
Oh, this I was expecting to be a lot heavier.
Sure. All right, go ahead and fire it up again. I want to see something. As you saw, we actually got the car running. It's not running perfect yet, but it's definitely better than it was. It seems like the ECU might be starting to figure things out. I was actually able to get the car somewhat timed. It's jumping around a little bit because of the timing light, because it's not running perfectly. But I think if we got it out of here, drove it around a little bit, the ECU would figure things out. Car would be running a lot better, and then we can get the car properly timed, which will be nice because this car has had its timing off since we first bought it because the timing chain was off. But now that's fixed. Starting to look pretty good. Two things we need to do though before we start driving it is, of course, get some fluid in the brake system because stopping is important. So we're going to do that, and then an oil change because there might be some fluid in the oil from when we took the head off. So we're going to take care of those two things. Now, when it comes to doing brakes, you always want to start with the brake that's the farthest from the master cylinder. In this case, the master cylinder is on the front driver's side, so we're going to start here with the rear passenger side. So all I have to do is get this thing in the air and get the tire off, get to the bleeder valve on the caliper, start sucking some fluid through with the Mighty Vac, and we should be good. As a note, don't forget, whenever you're taking wheels off, don't forget to loosen the lug nuts before you put the car in the air, because once you jack the car up, there's no friction on this tire and it's just going to spin on you. Now this one does have e-brakes on the rear, so that might not be as bad, but we're still going to break it loose first, get in the air, get this taken care of, move to the front, do the oil change and the brake fluid at the same time. Well, since all this is Mike's car, I'm going to let him jack it up. That way, if anything gets damaged, it's on him, not me. Yeah, you should. So you want to use a box wrench because then it just stays on. So what happens is you build up some vacuum and then you crack open the valve. See how it's starting to suck it through?
Oh yeah.
Actually, why don't you try pumping the brakes, see if that kind of pushes things. It might have something that maybe this doesn't work for this particular car. Yeah, that's working a lot better. Alright, this Mighty Vac is not doing its job. Still a lot of bubbles, so keep pumping. And that's pretty much it. Pretty simple job to do. So there's two ways to do this. If you're on your own, you can get a Mighty Vac. The one I have is an off-brand. It appears to not be working too good. So get a name brand version of that. And what you do is you can just hook up to the bleeder valve and just suck the brake fluid through. For some reason, this one's not working. I think it's just we had issues with it when we did the 35, so I just think the system's bad. I'm just gonna toss it. The best way is still kind of the old-fashioned way, but it takes two people. You have one person that sits in the driver's seat, they pump up the brake pedal and then they hold it. You crack open the bleeder valve, let all the air and fluid through until you don't see any more bubbles. And you just do that a couple times. So you crack it open, they lose pressure, you close it, they pump it up again, you crack it open, they lose pressure, you close up again. And once you no longer see any bubbles coming through, you know you're good and you can move on. So we pretty much finished with the rear. We're gonna go ahead and we've got the lug nuts on and the wheels. We're gonna drop it, torque the lug nuts down properly, move to the front where we're gonna do the brake fluid on the front side and also an oil change, and then we're about to go drive this thing. All right, here we are at the front. Time to get these loose before we get it in the air. Now these are even more important to get loosened than the other side, because the other side usually has an e-brake. So even if you forget to break them loose, the e-brake will hold it. This doesn't have it, so as soon as you get the front end in the air, it's just gonna spin on you. Whew, these suckers are on there strong. There we go. Turn the wheel to the right. Yeah. There we go. Okay. All right, go and start pumping up the brakes. You good? Go ahead and pump them up again. You good? Yeah, we're definitely done this side. All right, so we did the other side off camera because there's no reason to show you twice. And now we just put the wheels back on and we're pretty much done. All we're gonna do is a quick oil change and then we're ready to actually drive this car. Yep. So the next part I really don't think is worth showing. It's just an oil change. You know how to do that. The oil filter's right here. Oil drain plug right underneath there. Most of you have done an oil change before. If you really want to see how to do an oil change on a KA and an S14, go ahead and post in the comment section down below. If you really want to see it, we'll do one, but I think most of you know how to do this. All right, so update, you can see that the car is on the ground. We've tightened the lug nuts, we've finished the oil change. So we know that we've got fresh fluid through all the brakes, fresh oil, we put extra coolant in, wheels are locked down tight. That means we're ready to go for a drive. Unfortunately, as you can see, it's nighttime. We lost the light, that type of stuff sometimes happens. But we're still gonna go for a drive, you know, take it around. Hopefully the ECU figures things out. We fired it up a couple times. I can actually, like I said, get it timed according to how it's supposed to be, but it's not idling at the right RPM. It should be at about 1,000 to 800. We're sitting about 100 to 500. There again, as we take it around and drive it, the ECU will probably learn that. I'm gonna take the timing gun with me along with a 10mm wrench, and then that way we can adjust the timing as the ECU begins to figure things out. So I don't know if I'll be able to show that with the light the way it is. If I can, I will film it. Otherwise, I will do a wrap up back in my kitchen. Obviously, I'm in my kitchen, so that means I didn't record that test drive. I'd like to apologize for that. But that drive was actually pretty short. It was only about a 5 or 10 minute drive because there were still some issues that stopped us from driving the car to the point that we wanted to. The biggest issue was the brakes were not stopping the car. And as you know, that's kind of important. It seems like the pedal was fine, so obviously the brake fluid that we put in there fixed that issue, but there was just no friction between the pads and the rotors. And that's probably because that car's been sitting for a long time. I didn't realize, Mike pointed out to me, that it's been about a year since that car's been on the road. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but apparently it's been that long. And those rotors and pads were kind of iffy to begin with. Like obviously they weren't name brand, they were just the cheapest things the guy could find to put on there. So my guess is with the rain that we've had and various other things, the pads have pretty much just gone to crap and the rotors were kind of rusted anyways. So we decided that we weren't gonna drive the car that much on that because we didn't wanna die. One of the things that was fixed on that drive was the overheating issue. So in the 5 to 10 minutes we were driving, we had no overheating issues at all, which means that removing the thermostat fixed that issue. Now that just tells us that for sure the electric fans are not pulling enough air across the radiator to keep it cool, and removing the thermostat was just a band-aid, which means in the future Mike either needs to get better flowing fans or just step back to the original stock fan clutch and shroud, which is what I'm advocating for. But for right now, at least the car's not overheating. The other thing is, I mean, the car, isn't running great still. We only drove it for about 10 minutes, so the ECU didn't really get time to learn anything. Now that being said, obviously some time has passed since the recording of that video, as you can tell by the hair and maybe even the face. It's probably been about 3-4 weeks. And the reason why is, if you've been following the channel, I've been working on getting an R33 GTR shipped over here from England. I've been doing a lot of videos on that. So this was actually shot a little while ago. Now the great thing about that is, since the time that we filmed this video, we've figured out a few things. So when we go back in the next video to fix them, we're gonna have a better idea of where we're going. The first thing is, the reason why there was no brake fluid in the lines is the rear passenger caliper was leaking fluid. So at least now we know where the leak is. So Mike has gone ahead and ordered up brand new calipers for the rear. We were just gonna do a rebuild, but then we found the rebuild kit was the same cost as buying the calipers. So might as well just buy the calipers and, you know, save us some headache and hassle of doing the rebuild. So those are actually already here. The next video we do on the S14, we'll be doing that install. The other thing that we discovered is there's actually an idle set screw on this car, which I should have thought about, and it didn't even occur to me. And that idle set screw was set all the way in, like it was tight. And the reason why I think that happened is, obviously we fixed a lot of vacuum leaks on this engine with the smoke test. So this car was probably idling very high just due to the fact of all the vacuum leaks. And so the previous owner just set that idle set screw all the way in to drop the idle down to where closer it should be. And now that we've fixed those leaks, it's just idling very low. So also in the next video, we'll back that set screw out, see if we can get the car to idle where it's supposed to idle, and then we can really get it timed properly. So that's currently where we're sitting. I mean, the car has been on the road. We have a good idea of what the final issues are that we can fix to get the car more roadworthy. I hope you enjoyed this video though. If you did, go hit that thumbs up button to let me know. It does help the channel out a lot. As I did say at the beginning of the video, if you'd like to see more automotive, particularly GTR and S14 content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on all forms of social media, which include Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. There'll be links for those in the description down below. Now, after watching this video, if you have any questions about what we did, if you think there's something that we did wrong, or you have a better idea on what we can do to get this car on the road faster, go ahead and post in the comment section down below. I will respond to you. I thank you all for watching, and until next time, forget everything else, focus on the finish line.